Hey guys, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing a little bit of a fun video. As you can tell from the title, it is officially back to school season, meaning everybody is back into the swing of things and normalcy and going to school and learning and getting an education. And this video obviously is going to be bookish, so we're going to talk about some of my favorite books and book series that are taking place at a high school and or university. So that can be any sort of school setting. I know some of these on this list are going to be like, oh, well, that's not like an actual high school or a university. It's fine, as long as it is in a school setting. That is the most important thing. So obviously there's going to be some popular series on here that we all know and love, but some of these I'm hoping that others won't be too familiar with, and you might actually see some of these videos or some of these book series overlapping with other videos because of the nature of the series. Sorry. Excuse me while I get comfortable. Anyway, so there are 10 items on this list, and it was really hard to narrow down some of my favorites that were taking place in high school or at a university, and there are going to be some honorable mentions now that I'm thinking about a couple of them. But a couple of honorable mentions we're going to talk about a little bit is going to be Twilight. So Twilight was taking place in, or at least the first book was taking place at a high school. It was one of the major settings of the entire book, and I very much enjoyed it. They would not be as popular like if they came out now, because a lot of the things that happen in those books are not really like culturally appropriate, I guess is how you would say it. But overall, I really did enjoy that series. As I was growing up in high school, I think the first book came out when I was like in like a freshman, I think, in high school, and I very much enjoyed them. They were some of my favorite books as I read, like that I read as a teenager. So that is going to be the one and only honorable mention because I did have 11 things, but 10 of them are obviously on the list, and Twilight is an honorable mention. So coming in at number 10, and now this might be a little bit controversial because a lot of people absolutely love this series. I do love this series. However, it is very popular, and I want to wait to actually read it because I have not read it yet. I'm waiting to read it with my niece when she gets a little bit older to understand what is happening in the story, and that is Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. I have not read any of these books. I have watched all of the movies and I'm very familiar with the movies, but I have not read the books. I was not an avid reader when I was in elementary and middle school, so I was not a Harry Potter gal growing up. I just didn't find the hype in it. I wasn't very much into magical realism, and I just didn't like it. So I am waiting to read those books with my niece when she gets a little bit older. She is only 3. So I'm hoping by the time she's 10 or 11, she'll really want to read those books and we'll enjoy reading them together. And that can be like an auntie-niece activity that we both enjoy. So that's number 10 on my list. Number 9 on my list is going to be Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. Now, I did just complete this series, at least all of the books that are out currently. I do know that there is going to be a volume 5 next year. So this is super cute. This is about 2 guys that go to a high school. One of them is very confused about their own sexuality and one is very confident in their sexuality, and it is just a very sweet coming of age story between 2 boys that are just trying to learn what each other is about, which I find very appealing. It was very cute. I loved all of them. I have not yet watched the TV series on Netflix. I'm hoping to get to that later on this year, but we will definitely see. I have a lot going on and I need to find a time to actually read that or to actually watch the series before, you know, it becomes unrelevant. So that is number 9 on my list. Number 8 on my list is going to be a tie between 2, but they are both by the same author, and that is the Rebel of Raleigh High series and the Riot House series, which is also known as Crooked Sinners. I really enjoyed these books. These are both bully romances. One is a little bit more of enemies to lovers, whereas the other one is just straight bully romance. I read the Rebel of Raleigh High a few years ago, and so I don't really remember quite a lot that happened in that series, but they are both taking place in a high school setting. Riot House is more at a boarding school, whereas The Revel of Raleigh High is set at a high school. So, very well done bully romances if you are not a fan. These series are both by Callie Hart, if I did not already mention that. But overall, super enjoyed the series when they did come out. And I am currently in the middle of Riot Rules, which is book 2 in the Crooked Sinner series. So we will definitely be reading a little bit more of that series when I have the time, really, because who really has time to read at the moment? Not me. Number 7 on my list is going to be A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy. This is a standalone contemporary romance novel that is taking place at a, I think this is also at a boarding school. I think this is at Lancaster Prep. This is I don't want to say bully romance, but it is a bully romance mixed with like enemies to friends to lovers. This is between Crew Lancaster and Ren Beaumont, and they are super cute. I loved this series or this book. It is a standalone, like I said, and overall, I did not find many problematic things in it as some other people did. I do see where they come from when they are explaining their reasoning on their certain ratings, but I feel like a lot of people do give this book some slack, or flack rather, because they don't give it more than 20% before they DNF it. But once you get past like a certain point, it gets so much better, and I really, really enjoyed this book, and I hope people do give it a fair shot. So that's number 7 on my list. Number 6 on my list is going to be The Brentwood Boys by Megan Quinn. This is a baseball romance series. I believe there are currently 7 books out. I think I've read the first 4. I have not read 5, 6, or 7. I do own 6 and 7, but I don't own the other 5. I missed Megan Quinn's pre-order for Book Bonanza last year, so I could not get the books, but I was at the very end of Book Bonanza. As we were walking out, Megan Quinn was right by the exit, and we were able to snag a couple of books at her stand that people didn't pick up from their pre-orders. So I got lucky, and I think I got 2 books from her. Yes, I did. So, I loved this series, books 1 through 4, like I said, sorry. This is, like I said, a baseball romance. Every male character in the series is a baseball player, and the girls either went to college with them or have some sort of familial, like, relationship to somebody else in the series. So, like, I know, like, the first 3 books, are characters that all went to the same college, but then like the girls also went to the same college as the boys. So overall, loved this series. I'm still working on it, like I said, but I think that it is very well done as far as setting in a university, because it's not just at the baseball field. They are also like taking place in other buildings of the campus, and it's very nice to see that an author knows how to describe a campus well. And anyway, so that's number 6. Number 5 on my list is going to be the Jock Rowe series by Sarah Nye. This is also sports romance. Each book does have a different sport involved, so I think book 1 is baseball, book 2 is rugby, book 3 is football, book 4, I'm not entirely sure which one is book 4. I think 4, 5, and 6 are ones that I don't quite remember because I haven't read them yet. So I don't remember like what sport they are related to. But this is taking place at a university. Jock Row is very much similar to like sorority row or fraternity row. Each sport has a different house, and they just have stories out of their houses, which is really cool. So I really enjoyed it, and I think it is actually really well done for a college book, because I know sometimes people who write college or high school related books just go straight for the jugular with like partying and doing all this stuff that's like what you expect college to be known for. But I liked the way that Sarah Nye did this series and kept it a little bit PG and clean until like the very end. So I really enjoyed it. And then number 4 on my list is a tie between two, but they, again, also by the same author, and that's going to be the Off-Campus series and the Briar U series by Elle Kennedy. These are both hockey romance series, and they are just really good. They have a lot of different tropes, friends to lovers, enemies to lovers. Some of them do have cheating in it, so just be aware of that. I really enjoyed this series. I thought the small town aspect of these college towns were actually very well done. And I think that a lot of people sleep on these types of hockey romances because they think they're a little bit juvenile. I actually, yeah, I will say like some of the characters are juvenile, but for the most part, they are very well rounded and actually understand like what is happening around them, and they do know like the difference between right and wrong when it comes to like moral issues. So for college kids, they're actually pretty well rounded, and I really enjoyed this series. Number 3 on my list is another Monica Murphy series, and that is The College Years by Monica Murphy. So that consists of the freshman, the sophomore, the junior, and the senior. I have talked about this series previously in other videos, and I am very happy that I have been able to read this series. I read most of these books last year because that's when they mainly came out. I don't remember if the senior came out last year or if it came out at the beginning of this year, but I did read all 4 of them. Book 1 is, they're all pretty much like football players, but book 2, Jackson, he is like a rock star. So book 1 is Tony and Hayden. They meet at a car dealership, and their parents like hate each other, so it's kind of like forbidden love, but super sweet too. Book 2 is Jackson and Ellie. It's like friends to lovers. They've been best friends for a long time, but and Ellie's always had a crush on Jackson, but Jackson's like, oh, she's like a sister to me. I would never want to like hurt our friendship because of that. Super stinking cute. The junior is Caleb and Gracie. This is personally my favorite book. Gracie is Hayden's best friend, and Caleb is basically the comic relief of the whole series, which I absolutely love. It's fantastic. I think I've said this before, but when I went to the Book Bonanza and met Monica Murphy, that was the book that I brought her to sign, and she was so happy that somebody had brought her the junior to sign because not a lot of people like Caleb. I think he's absolutely fantastic. He's my favorite character out of that series. And I love them. She was so excited that somebody finally loved Caleb. So I personally, that's my favorite. And then the senior is again about Ava and Eli because they don't have enough books in their freaking story. I do have their first 3, I believe. So anyway, I love the College Years by Monica Murphy. I have not read the Callahan series, and I do know that Ava and Eli do have like 3 books in that series, but I haven't read them yet. I do own them, I just haven't gotten to them yet. So eventually I'm sure I'll get to those, and those are also high school related. So number 2 on my list could be like taken like a couple different ways. Like technically they're not in school, but they were, like in the first book they were in college. So that is the Addicted to You series by Krista and Becca Ritchie. The first book is set at UPenn, University of Pennsylvania, and I love this series. It's my favorite series. That is like, I don't know how to describe it because they're both addicts, and it's like if you don't have good like mental health, and these books are not going to be good for you, especially if you have an addictive personality. They're not going to be like great to handle or to give advice to people who also have the similar addictions. But overall, I really enjoyed this series. I know like a lot of people are like, oh well, it's not really at a school setting. It was the first couple of books. They were at UPenn. And especially when you get to like the Calloway sisters books, Rose and Connor's series are pretty much at Princeton, and like their background and stuff is very academic, so it makes you feel like you're at school. But I really enjoyed this series. I am currently on book 8 out of the whole Addicted to You, Calloway Sisters series that is supposed to be read in a specific order. I'm on book 8 of that. And I'm hoping to get to the spin-off series eventually. We'll see. But that's number 2 on my list. And if you've been watching my videos for the last couple of months, number 1 should not be a surprise to anyone. And that currently is Zodiac Academy by Carolyn Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. This series has consumed my life for the better part of 4 months, I want to say. I am currently on book 6. I am in the middle of book 6. And it's a lot of emotional damage. I had to take a little bit of a break from the book because it was just too much to handle. So I needed to take a little bit of a break, which I did. And I'm hopefully going to be finishing it by the end of August. By the time this video comes out, it will be the end of August, and I will hopefully have read this book because emotional damage is all I'm going to say. So those are my top 10 or 11 favorite books that take place at a college or university or high school. I wish everybody the best of luck on their school year. I hope you guys get really good grades, get good straight A's, get on the dean's list or the principal's list or whatever it is. I hope you guys have a great rest of your college or school semester, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I gave you some recommendations of books that do take place in these settings, but you haven't read them yet. I really hope that I gave you something to look forward to or to maybe look into as far as reading. So with that being said, I do have some social media links in the description box below if you want to check me out. I am on Instagram and on Goodreads. Those are my 2 main social media platforms. So if you want to check me out, I do have those links in the description box below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.